to exist. Mastery doesn't happen in front of crowds. It happens in solitude, in repetition, in the same decision made over and over and over again until it becomes your default. You want to be the best? Start working like you already are. Start training like it's already yours. Start showing up like you're already leading the field. Because the standard you train with when no one's watching is the same standard that will carry you when the pressure is on. If you can't build in silence, you won't last in the spotlight. If you can't stay consistent when it's hard, you won't survive when it gets harder. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. And if your preparation is built on discipline instead of emotion, you'll never fall below greatness. You have to become the kind of person who doesn't need reminders, who doesn't need motivation, who doesn't need a push. You just move. You just work. You just do what needs to be done. Not because it's exciting, but because it's who you are. Because excellence isn't something you chase. It's something you become. Stop waiting for people to see you. Start building something that's undeniable. Stop hoping the world will believe in you. Start acting like your work speaks louder than your words. Stop measuring your worth by attention. Start measuring it by alignment. Because when your daily actions reflect the person you're trying to become, the world won't be able to ignore you. Okay. The second way to become the best is to obsess over your fundamentals. Mastery isn't found in the fancy. It's not built in the complicated. It's born in the basics, in the simple things done with ruthless consistency, over and over, long after most people have moved on, long after it stopped being exciting, long after it became boring. You see, that's where the best are hanging out. Everyone wants to skip steps. Everyone wants the next level. Everyone's chasing strategy. But the ones who dominate, the ones who lead, who last, who become undeniable, they are obsessed with the simple things. They're not above the basics, they're built on them. You don't rise by doing extraordinary things once in a while. You rise by doing ordinary things at an extraordinary level. Every single day. You sharpen your skills until they're automatic. You drill the same pattern until your body doesn't hesitate. You don't just know what to do, you become it. Most people get stuck not because they're untalented, but because they get bored. They abandon the process that got them here. They look for shortcuts. They want novelty. They start experimenting instead of refining. They start winging it instead of executing with precision. But the best, they don't need variety to stay locked in. They need mastery. They need the same reps, the same sets, the same notes, the same drills, until they feel them in their bones, until they become instinct, until there's no hesitation, until their floor is higher than most people's ceiling. If you want to be the best, stop looking for something new. Look deeper into what you already know. Study your craft like it's sacred. Break it down. Rebuild it. Refine it. Study your movements. Study your decisions. Study your rhythm. Track the details. Obsess over the edge. Because excellence lives in the details. There's no such thing as too good for the basics. When it starts feeling easy, you don't move on. You go harder. You go deeper. You push the tempo. You push the precision. You push the intensity. You don't just check the box. You squeeze every drop out of the process. The best don't practice until they get it right. They practice until they can't get it wrong. Until execution becomes reflex. Until confidence is built on hours of proof, not moments of hype. until their foundation is so strong that nothing can shake it. Not stress, not fatigue, not pressure. You can't skip your way to the top. And even if you could, you wouldn't stay there. The people who skip steps always get exposed. When things get real, when the pace increases, when the pressure hits, they break. Because their base was weak. Because they built speed before skill. Flash before foundation. But if your base is solid, if your fundamentals are locked, if your habits are unshakable, you don't break. You don't panic. You don't hesitate. You just execute. And you execute better than anyone else. Not because you're more talented, but because you're more prepared. Next. The third way is simple, and it's to become unreasonably consistent. Not occasionally consistent. Not when it's easy consistent. Not when I feel motivated consistent. Unreasonably consistent. So consistent that people start asking how you keep showing up. So consistent that your habits are no longer tied to your mood. So consistent that discipline becomes part of your personality. Because the truth is, talent will fail. Emotion will fade. Motivation will vanish. But consistency will keep going. Consistency will carry you through the valleys. Consistency will protect your progress when life tries to knock you off course. Most people are committed when they feel like it. They follow through when it's convenient. They train hard for a few weeks and then disappear for a few more. They journal for 2 days, then stop. They go all in for a weekend, then burn out. They start strong, but they don't last. That's not how greatness works. You don't become elite by showing up when it's sunny. You become elite by showing up in the rain, in the dark, on the days when everything in you wants to stop, on the days when no one would blame you if you skipped. That's where the separation is created. The ones who become the best aren't the ones who had the most natural ability. They're the ones who made a decision that said, no matter what, I show up. No matter how I feel, I execute. No matter the conditions, I perform. That decision, when repeated daily, becomes identity. And identity is where all your results come from. You don't need more intensity. You need more frequency. You don't need to sprint for 3 hours once a week. You need to show up for 30 minutes every day. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You need to keep the chain going. You need to show yourself over and over again that you're someone who doesn't stop.